Hey guys, this episode, I don't know, did it feel kind of dark? I hope not.
I didn't take that away.
Okay.
But
I had a vulnerability hangover, honestly, after we recorded it. So it's been like, I think a week or so since we recorded it. So just like FYI, like spoiler alert, I am feeling better. It did help, like talking about it helped me process some stuff. I wrote our newsletter about it for the month of May. If you don't get that, you can sign up on hotyoungdesignersclub.com or check out the blog.
Yeah, and so I'll just say, like, I'm really glad that you shared that that's how you felt about that, and that it was like you guys were always trying to be real. And I think sometimes there could be a confusion of like, wait, you guys are really like that. Like, this is not. It's not the Kardashians. We are not that produced. Like, what we're sharing is the real of what's happening for us. Like, and there's a few filters here and there, but for the most part, like, you're seeing what you get when we're talking about our mental health, about how we're feeling. Like, that's there.
Yeah, and it did, like I said, we recorded it when I was kind of just like starting to realize and naming things, and then I honestly, writing the blog post helped me actually like unlock what it really was. So anyway, little teaser, but I'm doing better and getting out and walking and doing the positive things.
Yeah. Like, and there's always more like for us to focus on for ourselves, but as business owners, it's really hard. We talk about some of that in this episode, and just have your people around you that you can talk to, that can support you. Rebecca and I frequently just text each other to check in, like, proof of life. It's been a couple of days. Like, are you alive? Right. Like, check. And it's funny sometimes, but also you're like, I'm actually glad someone checked up on me more than once, and like is noticing that, like, if you're like not jumping into the group chat, if you're not in Marco Polo or the group chat or something, it's good to have people around you.
Unless you're both going through it at the same time, then it's kind of like,
oh shit. Oh, you're both in the soup together?
Well, I feel like we kind of are right now, but
it's like, so like we need the other people around us to help pull us and stretch us and help keep us like honest and aware of what we're feeling and what we're thinking and
connected. But we get into all that more in the episode.
Yes. And definitely check out the blog post that talks more about our recap, where Rebecca touches on that again.
And I don't know, are people looking, or do you guys like read those little links that we put in there? Because there's some good stuff in there. They're like little hidden gems. I don't know how many people actually click on them, but
like the links we share. Because sometimes it's products, sometimes it's a book, sometimes it's like an article that was really helpful, or a project that we saw that just like blew our minds. Like, we try to put everything.
It's like all parts of our lives, I feel like, get put in there.
Yeah. Yes. But that's what happens with our businesses sometimes too, is like all parts of our lives are in here. Mm-hmm. What else is happening? Oh,
if you're listening to this early, when the morning it comes out on the 9th, you can still catch the Hottie Hangout. Our next one is May 9th at 10:30 PST. So you have to be a patron to join, but I think it's the deal of the century.
Absolutely. And we're talking about personal branding in this session. If you miss the live sessions with the group, you can always listen to the recordings later. We put those in our Patreon at patreon.com/HYDC. Also, if you dig in on the blog, we shared, like, once upon a time, our interior design install kit was like a full 100 plus inventory that we only had as like a download in our old shop. Right. And then we just decided, you know what? Let's just share it with everybody. So it's now a blog post for our interior design toolkit. It has all the install items, what we use them for, why, how, like, it's a very extensive list. And we built an Amazon shop page that has everything in it. If you're just like, click add to cart, like, this is stuff I haven't added.
Yeah, and there was a lot of stuff I hadn't had or got like lost over the years. So over Christmas break, I revitalized mine And I also dialed in that store of things that weren't there or updated links and stuff. So there's some good stuff.
I agree. My favorite one is still the electric scissors that cut through rug pads. I know you had problems with one version of yours, but the
new ones I got, I think I updated it onto that page because I think the ones you had weren't available anymore.
Like they could probably cut through a small tree.
Every time I bring them out, like I brought them to Texas with me, and those guys were like, "Oh my God, these are easy."
Losing their damn minds.
For rug pads, it's a game changer, essential. And you'll be the hero of the day.
That and the handheld steamer always get me. Like my life is so much easier. Like it's just, you don't know until you have it how much better it could be. So check that out on the blog at hotyoungdesignersclub.com. And that's it.
Enjoy the show.
Yeah, on with the show. This episode is brought to you by Sortly. If you're growing your interior design business, then you know tracking inventory across projects, warehouses, and team members can slow you down. That's where Sortly comes in.
Sortly helps you manage furniture, decor, and materials effortlessly from any device, anywhere. Simplify your installs with barcode scanning and real-time updates, making it easy to export details for client proposals.
Sortly is the mobile inventory solution that your team will actually use, so you can stop losing time and money on messy spreadsheets and outdated systems.
Hot Young Designers Club listeners get 50% off their first year, plus a free 14-day trial. Sign up today at sortly.com/HYDC.
That's sortly.com/HYDC. Welcome to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
I'm Rebecca Plum, your big sister.
And I'm Shaun Surha, your GBF.
We're not that hot or that young,
but we believe it's a state of mind that helps us build adaptable and profitable businesses.
We rely on the support of our design besties to get through each day.
So let's explore the emotional, practical, and humorous sides of being interior designers.
Welcome to the club. Hey, Shaun.
What's up, Rebecca?
Oh, this topic is apropos for me.
Near and dear to our hearts.
Near, not so dear.
We actually have wanted to do this since last year when we were like, oh, we probably should talk about that more.
Yeah, and we wanted to do it. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Welcome. And yeah, we just have never gotten our planning right, but
we did it this time. Took us a whole year.
We put it on our calendar last year.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been struggling a lot the last couple weeks. So
with your mental health, or
yeah, I mean, yes. I get obviously everything affects the other, so it's hard to kind of unravel. But yeah, I've been thinking about it. So last week I was on vacation, and leading up to vacation was just obviously a lot of prep and just a lot of busyness.
Yeah,
which has a lot of momentum to it. Like I think I thrive on it a little bit. It like gives me adrenaline rushes and like helps me be effective in a way. Maybe not effective, but productive.
Yeah.
And I don't know, coming back from it this week, like I just crashed, and I feel like, I don't know, I just need to keep an eye on this as a pattern. Is like I just have been in a depression this week, and it feels situational for the most part. I might have my meds adjusted, but we'll talk about that more.
We should talk about that stuff.
Yeah, we will. I think coming off of vacation, just the travel of it all, like it was a tiring trip. We were just, on the go the whole time in New York.
Yeah. It was a trip, not a vacation.
Yes, which was great and totally needed and still valuable, but just different. So I came back pretty tired, and then I just was in like a funk. Like there were a couple days this week that I just like really couldn't get out of bed. And part of it, like I wasn't feeling well too. Like I've been like having some other stuff where I've physically been feeling ill. But yeah, and it's just like me, part of that is like my process of naming it, I think has been really important. Like for me, just to name it to myself, like don't be hard on yourself. Like I used to, like, I mean, I go through these funks a lot, not a lot, but like once or twice a year, maybe. I used to deny it or like beat myself up about it and like, I don't know, name call maybe internally.
So what do you mean when you say naming it? What does that look like?
You are depressed right now. And
oh, yeah. Okay.
One thing I didn't ever know, and I am not an expert or a psychologist by any means, but
yeah,
somebody told me a while ago that they go through these depression cycles that could be a day, which I never thought of it that way. And I always thought it was like this diagnosis of like, I'm going to be in the throes of something for months.
Yes.
Versus like, no, like your mental health based on whatever your physicality or what you ate that day or how much sleep you got.
Yeah,
like
your chemistry.
You could just be depressed for a day and then the next day you feel fine.
Yeah.
So that was something that was a little bit of an eye opener for me and
that's interesting.
Helped me also not dwell in it.
Yeah, your depression doesn't have to be a road trip. It could just be a Postmates drop off. Like,
right.
It could be a short thing, but recognizing just because it's one day doesn't need to I don't need to assume that I'm now in it for a month or 2 months, 3 months or longer. Like,
which could be depressing in itself. Like, oh, fuck, now I'm derailed. Like, now I'm never getting out of this, or now my whole month is, I don't know, like, whatever self-talk you might have. But and also not like, it's just this dance of like, okay, for me this week, it's not a day, but I feel like it's probably a weeker. Like, I think I'll feel better next week.
Yeah,
I'm doing
you'll get through this weekend.
That will make me feel better. I'm like spending time with friends this weekend and doing some relaxation. And
will you be in the sun at all? Is there sun by you?
Oh my God, it's going to rain and we're going to the pool, a day spa. I'm so pissed.
All indoor activities. We're supposed to get rain too. Yeah, huge. I will acknowledge even as a West Coaster, it's nothing like what the East Coasters or even the Midwesterners experience. But like, my body clock is paired with how much sun is out, and I'm a vampire. But if the sun is out, 100%, I feel better immediately. Like, and you were talking about on your trip in New York that there was like some spring energy of like spring has sprung, and that helps feed good emotions. And then to come back and have it be depressing and gray and cloudy is kind of depressing.
And it wasn't really that, but I don't know. I don't know how sensitive I am to that. I kind of like the moody skies, but I mean, I do think I feel more up for doing stuff when it's nice, obviously.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So this week, like, it's very on my mind, and things that I'm doing about it. One is nothing. Like, the first step was like naming it and recognizing it. And then like, you know what? You just might need a break. So like, give yourself a couple days where you're not totally beating yourself up.
Yes.
And I just need to not feel pressure. So the favor I did myself before I left on the trip, I did not stack my week this week. So I didn't have like actual major things I had to do.
Big obligations. Yeah.
No. I had little things, but obviously everyone always does. But yeah, I took a couple days and just like didn't.
Yeah.
Which I never do. That is really hard for me to do the last like 5 years, especially. I never just do nothing, especially during the week.
It's not an option.
Which made it more so that I just needed to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd let myself do that. And I don't know, when I felt okay, like in the afternoons, I would get up and knock out some emails and some things, but I don't know. I just think like sometimes you have to let the cycle. Like,
yeah, like that feeling needs to get through you. You can't just rush past it. You need to let it run a little. For me, it's like when I have those days like that, or even a week like that, it's like, okay, I'm going to let this run its course, almost like a fever. Like, this is a shorter term one. I've had a lot of stressful things, or I've had stuff coming up lately that's kind of compounded, or I had one really rough day that added to that. I need to let the boil come back down. and I
Because
need
I
to
think
let
I
that
did
happen.
defer a lot of things. Like, I think I
Yes.
had a lot of stressful things happen in the last month that I just like had to handle, and it stressed me out. Like, I felt the emotion of it, but I think I didn't let it like work its way through.
Yeah. Wait, have you done or do any somatic stretching?
No.
I feel like you and I would both. I've been trying some of them after seeing them on TikTok, and some of them are just like planting your feet on the ground and like shaking out. And some of it you do during yoga, even like yoga, where you stand and like you let your arms just dangle. And I'm not trying to reenact it right now. Obviously, we're on a podcast, but you just like
You
let your
could, we kind of were
body.
though.
I was about to like start doing my stretches, but yeah, it's one of those like physically releasing emotions, physically like reconnecting your body a little bit to just shaking things out. Like it's not like a lymphatic drainage kind of situation, but it is like our muscles are holding those emotions, the tension from them, the anxiety sits in our, like you can feel it when you get anxious, it builds in your chest or things like that. So I feel like somatic stretching, I've done a couple just like basic. I know there's tons, like you could go to classes for this where they'll do all of that, but like most people now, TikTok is my classroom, and it's just stretching, like it doesn't hurt. So I was like, let's try these, and they do help relieve some stress and tension in the moment. They're not a replacement for dealing with your issues, but they help me separate a little bit from the
and
feeling.
kind of work through things like actively as they're happening. Like if I had been doing it all last month, maybe this wouldn't feel
have built
like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that would have made it not happen, but
yeah,
I don't know. Now that I'm almost 50, I'm trying to like, okay, I have a bit of a toolkit, and I think recognizing it and just allowing it is one step. But there is that fine line of like, okay, when am I disassociating too much and
like ignoring
really
it.
like ignoring or dwelling in a way that is not going to help me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and like to be very real, this is I feel like in general, it's very uniquely stressful to be a creative entrepreneur. From the pressure to be creative is like one column of this. And then next to that is just the demand of running any business, period, is hard, no matter what it is for all business owners. But the pressure to be creative on top of the emotional responsibilities we take on behalf of our clients, that is very challenging in what we do. Like for all designers, that it is a source of stress.
And depending on how much you absorb that based on you, like I absorb a lot of it, or I pre-absorb something that's not even happening. Like,
yes,
I take things on that aren't
catastrophize
happening
in advance.
Yeah, like emotionally. So I think
because what could go wrong is also scary as a designer, and planning for
and
that.
How am I going to deal with this? Like whether it's financial or emotionally helping. So I think getting rest, but not too much rest, is part of it.
So don't hibernate.
I gave myself permission to step out of certain things this week, and I gave myself a time frame for it. Like I haven't been on Marco Polo, like and it's just like that's part of when I feel like too sensitive, I'll absorb other people's stress too much too, even if you guys aren't doing anything. It's just like I just take it on and it becomes anxiety when it's not.
Yeah. I've done that too. Like, I'm like, okay, I missed a lot. I'm now coming back. Like normalize taking a break.
Yeah. And not feeling like you have to take on everyone's stuff all the time, which a lot of us just tend to do.
I do.
So that's part of it. I think talking to friends is very important. And again, like I gave myself a timeline where I didn't want to be overly engaged with folks.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to let that continue on too long to where I'm retreating too much and hiding. So like this weekend, like I said, I'm having a couple days with some good friends of mine, and we're going to a spa, and it'll just be, I know it will feel healing because it's not anything stressful.
Yeah.
And it's catching up and kind of connecting with a different side of myself because I've known them for 30 years. And I think that's really important. And I'm also just kind of coincidentally, I had an appointment with my psychiatrist. So I think I am going to up my meds as well.
Okay. So then you and I are both medicated. I think I've talked about it on the show. I'm sure I have, about like where I hit sort of like,
maybe not your journey as much as like,
but like I have been consistent about therapy for pretty much my entire adult life, from the time my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer right after I finished high school so that was 2003. Like right after graduation was like, I'm having surgery. So like she started that, and then it was stage 4, and I was stressed out, and I saw my doctor. He's like, oh, you should talk to like a counselor or someone. Like it was actually a good doctor that he's like, this isn't my territory, but that sounds like a lot going on. And I think I was just like a regular doctor visit. He suggested it. And I think I felt kind of like I'm indestructible. I don't need help. I was like in my early 20s at that point where we knew it wasn't going to go well for my mom. So I started doing counseling, but it was a focus on like basically like pre-grief, like this is going to happen. She's going to pass. Let's do some therapy where we focus on conversations you want to have or things you need to discuss, stuff you want to have out in the open with your family or otherwise, and like have those conversations, like settle your feelings on things, feel like you don't have anything outstanding. And from then on, therapy has been like a consistent part of my life, whether it's like monthly maintenance therapy or every other week, depending on what's happening in my life. Couples therapy was a big part of even my relationship. And I would say that even like adding to that, like now I'm having like every week or every other week therapy. But in 2013, I got to a rough place where that was the first time that I knew I'm like, this isn't coming out with just like, I'm not getting myself out of depressive states.
This isn't a weaker.
Yeah. Like I'm not having just
and
like
maybe
a rough...
mine's not either. Like I will say, I don't really know, but I'm just kind of my
trying to work with it. Yeah. And so that was a journey that like got me to a place where I'm like, okay, it's not coming out of it the way it used to. I need to do something more about it. And that's when I moved towards medication as a way to help me with that. And I feel I didn't have any qualms about asking for it. I think it was I didn't recognize what was happening until it's already bad, you know? Like the wear on your tires is a slow, before you get a blowout, you know? Like,
yeah,
that's what I think was happening. And I didn't recognize it, or I just like didn't want to acknowledge it, because then you really have to deal with it.
Like people that live in a cat pee house.
This is just normal now, right?
They don't know.
No,
they don't want to know.
They don't want it. Absolutely.
But no one's coming over anymore.
Yeah. And so like for me, like I've chosen to stay medicated and work on dosing, and like I'm at a really good level place. So even when I'm now like at this point going through a divorce, I'm still heavily therapized. I'm still medicated. I still have a network of... Well, you had the
support in place.
Yeah. I didn't have to rebuild. Yes, we had some overlapping friend groups that I'm trying to stay kind of out of the fray. But I have other friends that can support me, like you, and like friends I've known since high school. Like I don't need to depend just on like one person or one group or anything like that. So having that was essential to helping me now actively when I'm having even more issues or more things. But even before that, having varied friend groups that can help depending on where I'm at emotionally is like really valuable. And when I've talked to even a few of my clients, like one of the things that my therapist did with me when I was like first like, oh, we're getting separated. She's like, tell as many people as you can stomach telling as quickly as possible, because it takes away the power. Mm-hmm. Like there's no shame, there's no embarrassment. The embarrassment builds over time as you haven't said anything or haven't talked to people, but they know. That's kind of what I mean by
naming it. Like it does kind of just bring it out of the shadows, whatever it is. If there's any potential of shame being attached,
right?
Like I do think it's important to bring it out of the shadows if you can, and as appropriate of a way as you
Sure.
can.
And like I had one understanding. Most of my clients have been understanding of where I've had like some up and down days on like, I'm not ready for this presentation. Like I need you. I want to be in a good spot for you, you know? And then a couple others, like I shared stuff and then they start sharing things. It's really, I think that's the surprising part of like freeing yourself of these is that by naming it, by getting it out, by talking about it a little bit, it frees up the conversations from others because you've kind of like let the veil down. You've shown vulnerability with them, which is hard for anybody, for a lot of us. And now they can respond back and you can like find where you're at together. They share an experience. Like one of my clients told me, I didn't even know she'd been divorced before. Like, I mean, it's not like something that comes up in normal conversation usually. She's married and has multiple children with her current husband. Like, it's not a normal conversation, but it's like it fostered that conversation by me being open about what was happening with me, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's also from the other side probably helpful for you to see people that have been through it and it is not impacting them anymore. Like as hurtful as it is to you now,
it's not a defining factor of them.
It's going to feel less.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been divorced twice and I didn't forget.
Oh yeah, that's another version of Rebecca.
Like literally.
Yes.
But 20 years is a long time to get over stuff. So yeah, I do think it's important to just like not feel isolated because I think isolation is like a petri dish situation where it just breeds more stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it just makes it worse. And like you don't want a dank, dark corner like for things to grow, you know? Like so
and I think like life in general.
A lot of things. And you don't need to be an oversharer. Like you don't need to go on your Instagram and put your life on blast. But I do think, I mean, I had a friend recently that was going through a separation and she has a business and a following and didn't want to share that with anybody. And obviously everyone can do whatever they want. Like I respect everyone's decisions on private matters. But I have found when I have been going through challenging situations, sharing it, even publicly on Instagram, without all the nitty gritty, it does help. And it makes people also know like where you're at and give you grace without like constantly needing excuses or anything. Because I think that is the fine balance, especially with clients.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to make excuses, but like, thank you for giving me grace, you know, like.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Or if like somebody's parent is ill or they're going through stuff like that, like it's better to know that someone's going through something than to just think like, what the fuck's wrong with you? You're out of it. Like,
what's going on? Like, can you give us something?
Or like just start telling stories of this person's like flaky or not on their game anymore. Like what, you know, like I'd rather know like, oh God, they're dealing with stuff. I'm going to do what I can to be supportive.
Right.
And that's helpful when you're on the receiving end of it.
I agree. Yeah. Hey, designers, are you feeling isolated?
Maybe looking for some more community?
That's why we created our Loyal Hottie membership.
So for just $10 a month, you get the following.
We give you all the real conversations with other designers. Every month, we host a Hottie Hangout live on Zoom.
Once a month, me and Shaun do an exclusive episode. This is the less filtered hot tea version of the podcast with video.
Yeah, because you need more of that.
You do.
And we have a private Facebook group that's just for the loyal hotties. It's a safe place where they all connect and share information and resources with each other.
You can find it at www.patreon.com/HYDC to sign up.
Maybe switching gears a little bit more for this is like, we should just I should acknowledge this. I feel like a lot of designers share this with us in our Patreon group or even on Instagram DMs about just like that there's a weird connection between what we do as designers and that we are like, there needs to be this sort of mindset shift of we are not our business. Like my self-worth is not tied to my project outcomes and my client work. Like in reality, they shouldn't be, but I'm acknowledging that it sucks that unfortunately, my brain keeps trying to make that connection happen. And it hurts, like, to feel like if I don't do something well at my job, it's tied to me as a person. I'm not saying I have the solution. I'm just saying that's there and it stinks and it shows up in our industry a lot, period.
I have a hard time with that one. And I can justify it, like, because it goes both ways. For me, like, I have a lot of esteem from my job and my work. But I also am very much connected wholeheartedly to my work.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have a job that I don't care about. Like,
yes.
So like when on Instagram, all these like corporate people talking about their shitty corporate jobs and like, I'm in it for the income, not the outcome. Like, like that's great. And I know that needs to be that for a lot of people and that's fine. But like, that's not me. So it's hard for me to parse it out because it's like the good and the bad.
I hear you. I don't think I have the solution either, but I just want to, like, I do think it's hard to separate that. I want to find a way to like collect the rewards when good stuff happens, but leave the bad stuff separate. It's not magical, but.
And yeah, like making a mistake at work does not mean you're a bad person and should be cast off the island. Like, no, like we all make mistakes and.
Yeah. The internet sucks for that, of just social media of it all, because I will agree that like the comparison culture of seeing peers or otherwise who have maybe less years in it, but hit a magic project or a magic publishing, or they worked it with PR to do, like, I know there are things happening behind the scenes. And I do know that maybe it's not luck. I want to say just like happenstance of the work that it could just be that brand new designer happened to be connected in a circle that got them that great first project. And we've talked about how when a project just hits that magic, it can be really wonderful. And we get hints of that. So it's when I sit objectively and look at some of these other designers or people that I might compare myself to, they really, it's not just luck. Like, they still had to do the work to create these projects. They still had to produce the result. Like, I myself get some of my own little magic coincidences that make things work out sometimes. They just got one that got them a little further. And it doesn't mean that because they got it, I can't have it, or it's not for me. Like,
or that their life is perfect and magical.
No, it's not. Like, I would say that is definitely something that happens. And then what I've tried to do now is be less critical when I see that happening for other designers, and to just like imagine the like gratitude of that situation for them, of like, thank God they got that project into Lux magazine or AD, or like imagine how much they had to stretch themselves to hire that better photographer or a stylist. And like,
they took some risks that I haven't been willing to take.
I haven't done that. Or they paid for PR. Like instead of paying for social media support for 6 months, they chose to spend it on PR because they had a couple great projects in the pipeline. Like,
or instead of paying themselves, which also maybe that means they have other financial support at home.
Bury that.
There's all these different factors.
I know so many designers who talk about how, you know, like, and Caroline Turner talked about that on a recent episode where she shared that she was like, I'm taking from me to give to you guys on my team and pay for you. Like, I want you to know what's happening, that I am actively doing things to like preserve our business, preserve your career, your job, your source of income, like all that's happening behind the scenes. So you're not doing it wrong just because you don't hear them talk about it.
Or just because you don't have a spouse that can carry the household, possibly. Like, it's just a different set of circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think right now, too, I have this little bit of a doomsday outlook in general. Like, obviously, my mindset isn't great this last couple weeks, but
politically and news otherwise are really,
I think
not
it's
great
definitely
right now.
adding to it. And like, we're fucked. Like, no one's going to buy anything. No one's going to do anything. No one can afford anything.
It's the Great Depression all over again.
Yes, people are jumping out of buildings, but it's not true. And then that is where like the comparison of like, fuck, how did they get that job? Like, people, not how did they get it because they don't deserve it, but like,
How do I get that?
No, how is that person affording it? And what does that person do? And how do I meet more of those?
Yeah. That's the internet again,
or
though.
Is it my mindset is now so narrowed and I am closing myself off to that, which is not what I want to do.
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, back to like the money mindset conversation.
Yeah. I think the thing that's helped me the most with some of this is like the elephant is in the room of like the Hot Young Designers Club community of designers who we message with each other and we talk with it. We see each other at market now and we're like comparing stuff in our hottie hangouts on Patreon. Like that helps me stay grounded and keep a perspective a lot, which most of my therapy has always focused on putting things in perspective. How bad is this? Let's really step back and like consider how this fits into the grand scheme of things. Let's not catastrophize when we don't need to. Like a lot of my therapy is focusing on keeping things in perspective. How important does it feel versus how really is this fitting into your life? Like it may not be that serious. And I feel like having a group of designer friends have really been like another layer of therapy to help me keep my life and my career and my projects in perspective, because it's nice to know I'm just not alone in my experiences.
Totally.
So that's big. And I think that helps with my balance of, is this weird? What would you guys do? How should I reply to that? Like having some sounding boards when we are otherwise kind of isolated as solopreneur, like as for me and you, like it's nice to have some other people on our little like designer board
right
of directors, like to help weigh in on those things.
Yeah. I mean, another part of this, which maybe isn't great, is like I can't listen to a lot of news. Like,
yes,
because it is all catastrophizing and different point of views have different points of view. Like,
yeah,
it's hard to know and people are guessing. And even like industry podcasts, I can't always listen to because they're trying to predict and no one knows.
Yeah,
and no one's being outrageous, but it does like start planting seeds in my head of like, oh, it's all over. Don't even bother.
And if you know your mind works that way, you're trying to avoid the trigger from happening without being like putting your head in the sand. You're just saying, there's only a certain amount I can take in. I'm aware some of this is happening, but I cannot doom scroll it, like or consume it all.
Then it's just like
everything's bad.
Everything's bad. Why are we even doing any of this? Like
do you like things that I do to like isolate? Like I've re-nurtured my algorithm on TikTok and Instagram to not show me. That's not where I want to receive economic news, business news, or otherwise. Like TikTok, I don't want it. I don't want any there. I cherry pick what I listen to on like the daily podcast or even like no shade, Business of Home. But sometimes an episode is a little too like heavy feeling. And so I will skip and go to a different episode of something and then come back when my mood is different. So it's also about like when I choose to consume it, knowing like I want to learn about this thing they're talking about. Today's not the day for it. And like protecting that energy a little bit.
And when they're looking at global shifts and big things, it doesn't necessarily mean that on a macro level, it's going to have the same impact. Like we just need a couple clients. We don't need the entire world to pick us, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard though. And I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. And I don't know what the long-term play is, honestly.
I'm just trying to invent different boundaries. Like I just recently, remember when I was saying I might get a separate phone?
Oh, yeah.
Because I haven't done that.
Nicole White was telling us about that.
Yeah. But what I have started doing is like, do you know how on the Gmail app, if you have multiple accounts, you can like toggle? Like if you're signed in on your profile, this is going to be weird to explain, I guess. But like if you're signed in on your Gmail, which is like where all my business stuff is, on your profile view, if you click the little profile picture, it says manage accounts on this device. So I have like my personal, my business email, then HYDC and otherwise, like I have multiple emails. And what I've taken to doing now is when you do the manage accounts, it has like a screen with all your accounts and a toggle button of just like turn on or turn off that inbox. So now what I've started doing for like the last couple of months is I turn off the business email. Like I toggle that button off when I leave work at the end of my day. And there have been times where even I've turned off all the inboxes. So where I'm literally not logged into any of them, no notifications in the evening, which is better for me from a health perspective because I can make it not notify me during certain hours, but it's even better to not even see the number popping up on the icon, like the Gmail icon where it's like popping up new red dots.
Well, that's because you don't just keep 5,000 unread emails.
I am not that person. No, that anxiety for me is seeing those.
Like I have 1,682 unread emails. I don't know what it was this morning. Like, was it 1,650 or was it?
Rebecca, I can't. That's my anxiety right there, though. It
actually nulls it to where it's not.
It's not triggering anymore. Yeah, it's not triggering.
Fucking Asana notifications. Let's be real.
There's a lot of Asana. There's a lot of like reminders or like this bill has been paid stuff where it's just like, ugh, okay, fine.
Or
like,
high point email. Oh my God. I wish you could just like say, God. I'm not coming. Stop.
The amount of emails that I got this year
from brands
brands for High Point made me angry. Like, I'm so sorry right now. I am going to say a name. York Wall Coverings. We do not need an email every single day, sometimes multiple times a day.
I don't get those, and we have an account.
I am about to lose my mind. Like, I like them. I want to be... They are sending so many. I don't know if I just need to... Maybe I need to update my settings, but I am getting so many. And I feel like a lot of brands are just sending me too much stuff in general, but I already know I'm the type of person to get overwhelmed by that. But it's just been wild lately. It's been wild.
I know. And I swear there are brands, not necessarily like furniture brands, but I have emails that they will not accept an unsubscribe. Like I want to like...
I've had to put people in blocked lists.
I try, and sometimes like it's still like, God damn it. Like who do I call? Like I'm going to send you to jail.
Whose dick do I have to suck to get off this list?
It's bullshit.
And so many that I never even thought. I will say this. It would be really nice to have an option, FTC or whoever, consumer protection, whoever you are that does this. It'd be really nice if I could opt out of my email being shared or sold to other parties when I register for like High Point or Vegas or like big industry events. They often share those with the vendors that are in their lists, and they sell them sometimes, but sometimes they're just like, if you are a vendor registered for this market, you will get a list of everyone who registered for market. Or it's not always just they scanned your badge. There are brands I've never even been to, and I'm like, I bet you ASID sold them my email or a market
allegedly.
Event. Allegedly, I don't know this to be true. Please don't. Yeah, but like brands, something's going on. Like,
that's hard to control, but just accept my unsubscribe. Like I've been trying to get off Pantone's email list for at least 10 years.
I think you need to block them.
I think I think maybe I finally did, but because I use third party stuff, so it might be part of the problem.
It's like time for probably mental health. It's time for a massive unsubscribe.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that's helpful. Like we've said this before, like I'm not as triggered by folks on Instagram as you tend to be. Like that's not where my sensitivities are.
I do unfollow things that...
So if something just makes you feel bad, definitely unsubscribe or hide or take a break or whatever. I mean,
it makes me feel like I did something.
I mean, I do it, especially Facebook. God.
Oh yeah, I don't really go.
I mean, I think maybe two family members. I still...
2 people left?
Maybe. Yeah. Like there's just... If it's making me feel feelings of hatred towards someone, that's a sign for me of
get away.
You don't need this. This is not what we were created to feel and know about people. So that is, I think, a big helpful technique.
Yeah.
I've never done a full Instagram break that I know people do.
I've been wanting to. I'm not going to lie. Our dopamine detox is real.
With any 2 weeks listening, or whatever.
Is there a thing that, should I try this? Has anybody, I want to be skeptical. I just don't want to be the first person to, I want to know how much of it is hype, I guess.
I don't know. I don't think it hurts. I just do think when I don't post consistently, my outreach goes down. So I do know that my specific business is very tied to my Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So that needs to be dealt with in some way, whether it's find a different marketing tool or someone else to do it. But I don't want to get too much into the social media of it. Just do what you got to do.
Yeah. Well, we're working on it. We're trying some things. I think for me, obviously, if you realize there are signs for a bigger reset that is needed, or a break, or a sabbatical, I haven't done that yet. I'm sure there were times I should have, but I know that there are times emotionally where I'm putting less in to what I'm trying to do, and there's let's just tread water mode. And then there's let's swim laps mode. And for the last couple of months for me, as I've started going through my divorce and that, it's been hey, I don't need to be swimming laps right now. I don't have anything to prove to anybody. I need to make sure that I take care of myself and bring myself out on the other side of things.
Yeah, you're conserving
in a
energy.
Better place. Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was talking about. This week I'm conserving energy. And then if it doesn't lift next week, then I need to actively do some things. And I mean, a couple things that are small for when you're just feeling bummed, I think, more than
normal.
Actually having something. A couple times this week, as I said, I felt really down, but I did have calls, or I had a couple discovery calls this week. And that is coming out of the trenches, the depths of my mental cave to get on a discovery call was rough. But so things that I do, and you hear this all the time, but it is actually helpful, is get dressed. It's just a call. It wasn't on Zoom, but I got dressed. I put on a little bit of makeup. I accessorized. It's a little bit of that dress for the job that you want. I do think that does help. It helps me feel you're a big professional girl. You're a big, brave girl. And I do think too much of not getting ready, it doesn't help the way you feel about yourself.
Is it the basic groom yourself, take care of yourself, eat a meal, put on fresh clothes? Or if
you're just feeling you're not getting the work that you want, or you're just, I don't know. I do think this is not to minimize major mental health issues at all. Sure. But I do think I've been working a lot on the last year or two of just trying to kind of get my style back a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think it's post-pandemic too.
Yes.
And just defining what that means to me, because I think I've struggled in the past with, this is what a designer looks like, or we've talked about this. I don't have what in my mind, I don't look like what a typical interior designer looks like right. On the Southwest flight where you can recognize them.
Oh my God, not the big hat. Not the big dumb hat.
I don't think we're doing that anymore.
They are. There's still a lot of big dumb hat.
There are some. But I do just think in general, actually I can define what this means to me to just still feel I have style that is true to myself and my work and the clients that I want to be around. So I've been just dialing that in a little bit, which does make me feel better about myself too. And sometimes it's just accessorize, put on, you can still wear jeans and a t-shirt and sneakers, but put on some cute accessories and you're not just a schlub,
it won't fix all of your issues, but you'll feel better.
No. This is just like to
shake it.
I think this is kind of more going back to like
go touch grass,
position,
go sit in the
and
sun.
positioning yourself and your brand and stuff. Like I will go on social media, I'll show my face or do my little 3-minute consults if I feel like I have myself a little bit together.
Yeah. I mean, my therapy is covered by my doctor. So if you need to go to that next level, that's one place. But there are places for you to find that if you aren't going through like your health plan or they don't cover it. Like, what are there? We're not sponsored by them. It's BetterHelp, Talkspace. Like, there's also like, I feel like there's, okay, I know I sound stupid, but the governing body of psychologists, psychiatrists, and counselors, like they often have like listings of everybody. Like if you're trying to search by specialties or like
their website's probably been taken down.
Oh God, no! It's not a government agency. I thought
okay.
like the nursing board isn't like a government agency, but like same thing with like Psychiatry Today or like there are resources that list if you're trying to find people. And now that so much can be done remotely, where you maybe used to be limited by your market that you were in of having to see a therapist in person, being able to do a lot of stuff remotely means that there's like a whole market of therapists, psychiatrists, and people who can help you that don't need to be right in front of you for everything necessarily.
Although physically. I will say that I think it makes a difference.
It does.
Especially depending on what you're going through. But if you need connection, then I do think it does add.
Yes. Especially
I'm not saying you can't get help remotely. You definitely can. And if you need to, do that. But I do think it does add a lot of value.
Yeah, it is helpful. I did a lot of mine, especially if I had to, like when I've done a different type of therapy or something. And like I did some somatic therapy one time, like that was like sessions versus just the stretching I was talking about earlier. And when it was with someone new, I wanted it to be in person because I didn't know that provider. So it was nice to do in-person stuff to just like build off of that. And then I could move on to stuff that's remote if I want to, once I've built that. But I think like find something that works for you, but don't ignore it too long that you just like getting started is the hardest part sometimes.
It is the hardest part. And if you are finding yourself in this place, yes, get the help you can get just to get yourself out of the woods. Like when I first started and I had my like real bad mental issues or depression and anxiety issues leaving my last career, I was in a really, really dark place and I just needed any help I could get. And it did start with my doctor and they prescribed medication just to like get me back so I could function.
Yes.
And then from there, it's been almost 10 years and it's tweaks and stuff. But ask, like you just have to, and this is where it just like take the stigma out of it. That's partly why we're doing this and why like I've been open today is it is something that is like physically happening to you. If it's depression or anxiety, like most people have dealt with it. So the shame just has to like not be a factor. Like feel like you have people in your life that you can ask, like just you may be surprised at how many people are also have been in that situation, have somebody they could refer you to. I mean, that's how I found my therapist. And I've had her on maintenance. So we've been like going just monthly for the last 5 years or so. And even though I don't feel like it's always like therapy per se, or I'm being like, it's therapeutic, maybe it is a place for me to just unload all aspects of what I'm thinking about.
And I like talking, so I'm never short on things that I need to go through.
And
I'm an intellectualizer, so yeah.
Yeah, and one of my big issues is I don't always feel heard in my life. So it's been my lifelong thing, and that's honestly probably why I do this show. You guys have to listen.
Because I'm heard. You have to hear me.
I'm not going to get interrupted every 5 seconds by a family member, but I do think it's important just to have a place where you are heard and all your thoughts and fears and unknowns. And I talk about client stuff. I talk about motherhood stuff. I talk about friend stuff. Like there's just aging. Like there's just so many things.
Oh my God. It's insane. Our lives are not meant to be this big. Like, they're just
So
not.
don't feel like you have to raw dog it if you're not able to.
Yeah, if you need help. Honestly, it's one of those things that like the more and more that I've like talked with you and friends and family and been open and upfront about all of it, the easier it gets for that. And then people who have I've like I talk about I'm not a doctor, but I talk about like me being on Wellbutrin and comparing experiences with people who are also like, oh, my
I'm on
therapist was
Wellbutrin.
recommending. Yeah, like, okay, everybody take your Welly Bees and like let's like talk about our experiences with it. And I know it feels like kind of like an old people conversation to talk about our like physical and otherwise issues because like 20 somethings don't do that, but it does feel good to be able to have people around me. I think they do. I think the Gen Zs love it.
And that is like recognizing so much of the generational changes, like from when I was first entering adulthood and what I was willing to share and talk about is completely different of what is acceptable or like destigmatized today. I love that journey for all of us, but a lot of us are still shrouded in fear and shame. And I don't love that if you are experiencing that. So I don't know. Yeah, I get to see a psychiatrist I don't see them. They like have to do a maintenance phone call with me every 6 to 8 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
And it's usually just a 5-minute check-in, like just to get my prescription renewed. But like the one that I'm having this weekend, it's like, actually, there's too much outside forces for my little sensey brain to handle right now.
Take on. I know. And like, I don't want to
It's fluid.
I don't want anyone who's listening to feel like, oh, I thought I was going to come here and get answers. Like, nope, that's not going to be us. Like, but we're here to
I don't know what your problems are.
Don't give them to me. I've got plenty.
My problems aren't the same as yours either. So
yeah, and I think that we're just trying to make sure that we talk about this more in the open. We often are talking about the emotional side of our work and design, and I think this is just one of those layers of like the mental health of it all, how it eats at us or how it can eat at us, how we can feel bad about ourselves for our work. Like just continuing the discussion. I don't think the goal is like, let's make it so we don't compare ourselves to others. I don't know if that's realistic to be able to accomplish. We might be able to influence the way we approach that or do it less, but I think some of that's always going to be there. So for me, it's always been about keeping myself in perspective with those things, learning to like think critically about them instead of thinking emotionally about them is like helpful for me to understand the realities of things instead of letting my emotions dictate where I go.
I feel anxious does not mean that that's all actually happening. Like
Correct.
You are feeling anxious, but it doesn't mean that the stuff that you're worried about is happening.
Anxious worthy? Like
no, or just real. Like
because things are
airplane's not falling out of the sky right now, but you still feel like it might. So that those two things are true. Like your feelings are true, but also like, no, I'm okay. I think just like touching on the medication bit once more, I was very against it for a very long time. Like I come from a long line of depressives and I just didn't want that to be my reality, that I was having to be on medication.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, like when I had to, I was trying, I think I've talked about this, but I was trying all kinds of stuff like hypnotherapy. I had a psychic. I had every other thing. And when my psychic said like, no, girl, you need meds.
You need like, medication, honey.
That was like, oh shit, she's right. Like, what are you doing? And it doesn't have to be forever. Like there could be a time where I don't feel like I need it, but I do think sometimes people are hurting themselves unnecessarily and making things feel really hard. And you're in pain. Like you're not taking a pain relief, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm not pushing it. if it's definitely not for you, then you know that. But I just want people to not feel like they have to, I don't know, be a hero about it if they're...
Like, you don't get cookies for trudging through without medication.
No, you actually get pain and suffering, and people around you are probably suffering, and you're making things a lot harder.
Yeah.
No, like I have a really good friend who is like struggling, and part of it's also related to perimenopause in my circle and all that shit. And like, you don't need to feel that terrible. Like, there are solutions. So
yeah,
I don't know. And they don't have to be forever.
Yes, that's the other part. Yeah, you don't, just because you're like my therapist and I, we've been steady on my medication, but even before the end of the year, like around election time, pre-election time, she was talking about, oh, we're probably good. We should probably review whether we could step down your dose or potentially even step off of it. And I was like, hold on, election, seasonal depression, holidays, and I was traveling for those 2 weeks in December, and I was like, that's too many things.
And it didn't even know you had a divorce on the horizon.
No idea. No, yeah, but truly, that was not planned. Like the tea of the century, that was not part of it. It was just like, I knew even leading up into Q4, that's not the time to mess with medications, and that was like a collaborative discussion with my therapist. So when I touched base with her in the beginning of Q1 and was like, oh, this is happening. She's like, oh, I'm glad we didn't mess with anything. I'm like, me too.
Yeah.
Like, just have the discussion. And like,
yeah, and you have support. And like, we didn't even talked really about physical exercise. Like, that's a huge part of it too. And one of like my biggest struggles.
Get exercise, eat like healthy foods without a lot of preservatives or additives, like foods that make you feel your best, yeah.
All the regulars. All
the stuff every other thing has told you about.
Well,
depression
any human
and mood
needs.
And
yeah.
We all need light food and water.
Apparently.
I need to eat breakfast. Like, that's mine is I know not everyone does. You need to eat meat. You need to eat, period, though. Like, you're also not good about any meals in particular.
I saw a TikTok the other day about somebody asking, like, when are we going to invent human dog food or human kibble? Like,
I would be down.
I was like, oh my God, that's what I need.
If it was like chips, but it was like kibble chips where it had the right balance of nutrients.
Actually, all these people commented, there actually is one. It's called dog food, DAWG. It looks disgusting, but it's like basically human kibble.
Human food made for the dog in you. Crafted specifically for individuals with demanding schedules who crave a healthy whole meal. This looks not appealing.
Like, you have to eat it with your face in the bowl.
Is this like, okay, hold on. What I'm seeing.
Is it a Saturday Night Live spoof?
I'm curious. Like, is this in The Onion? Like, okay, here's what I'm saying. This looks, y'all, this feels like MREs, like what soldiers would eat, like on the go, like in a bag, but you're meant to like add water.
They're good for 20 years. Yeah.
That's kind of what it looks, because it says, like, put it in a microwave safe container, add a tablespoon of bone broth or water, microwave it for 4 to 5 minutes, and here's your food. Like, that's basically an MRE, but it looks like they've got healthy contents, but
I want it. Yeah, I don't know the delivery. I want more like Cocoa Puffs kibble.
Yeah, I think I want, if I could have like or what was that? I'm not a big enough nerd for this. In Lord of the Rings, they were eating these little like biscuit things that were supposedly like one bite could fill you for a week.
That's what I want.
I would like something like that where I could just take the bite and my body is like sated.
You have full bars.
You got a full gas tank for the rest of the day at least, or you need a bite every hour. I'm like, I would do that. Like,
I always
a
want
shake
like
for lunch, a shake for dinner. Like,
I like dinner. I just want a lunch pellet or lunch or breakfast pellet.
Yeah, just like out of your little hamster cage.
But don't take advice from me.
Don't do that, everybody. But
take a break, go sit outside, turn your screens off, have your little healthy lunch.
Oh, man.
Or get some dog food.
Dog food. Yeah, we're not sponsored. Please don't. I don't know, you guys. If you try it, let us know how it is.
God, please. It looks like it's just like
know.
chicken and vegetables, right? Except it comes in an actual dog food bag.
I'm not gonna lie. It looks dry in the photos on their own website that they produce the images for. Like, it already looks. It does not look. I feel like I'm going to need a really big glass of water next to me because it looks like it's going to get stuck in my. It looks like it's going to get stuck in my throat. Like what was that? Remember the milk
food
commercial where they go Aaron Burr and the guy has his mouth full with the peanut butter sandwich and he can't get milk to like. It's like, yeah, the bread is stuck to your throat. This food looks like it is going to stick in a bad way.
Okay, well, don't do that, you guys. Pack a healthy lunch.
Yeah. So don't buy that. But take care of yourselves. Ask for help. Don't be afraid to share more about what you're experiencing with others. You might be really, really surprised about the support and how much you have in common with people. And yeah, keep finding your people to support you.
Yeah. And it's okay if you're having an off time. But yeah, just work through it. All right. Well, on that up note.
And we did it, y'all. Now you're mentally health aware for the month of May. Thank you all for being with us. And until next time,
stay hot, designers. Thanks for listening to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
For more on what we talked about today, check out the show notes.
Your support helps us grow, so share with your design besties.
And subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
Our conversations continue on Instagram.
And be sure to download our monthly resources on our website and our Patreon.